If you've spent the last few months bulking, eating more food, getting stronger, and finally putting on some muscle, or maybe you just have a lot of body fat and finally want to lose it and see what you have underneath, the last thing you want to do is mess it all up with a bad cut. Because after posting fitness content for 2 years and talking to hundreds of guys who want to get in shape, I've become convinced that most people completely ruin their chance to get lean before they even start, simply because they're focused on the wrong thing. You see, when most people decide it's time to get lean, they immediately start asking, how can I lose fat as fast as possible? And that's exactly where they go wrong. Because if there was one thing I wish every guy understood before starting a cut, it's this. The goal isn't to create the biggest calorie deficit possible at the start. The goal is to create the smallest calorie deficit possible while still losing fat. And if you've never heard that before, don't worry. Most people haven't, because social media has convinced everyone that getting lean means suffering, cutting out your carbs, and starving all day. But what most guys don't realize is that the goal of a cut isn't just to lose weight. The goal is to lose body fat while keeping the muscle you spent months or even years building. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I would get lean after a bulk and the biggest mistake people make that makes it seem so much harder than it should be. So let's talk about why dropping your calories right when you start the cut actually is holding you back. It's called crash dieting, and trust me, I understand why people do it. You can't see your abs, your face doesn't look as defined, and you don't have as much energy as you did a few months ago. So you want that body fat gone now. And the most obvious choice would be to drop your calories a ton and tell yourself you're locking in. And it might sound weird, but the biggest problem with this is that it works really well at the start. You'll see the scale go down, you'll feel motivated, but in a few weeks, your metabolism adapts, you start getting hungry, and your strength in the gym starts to drop. And before long, you're not just losing body fat, you're losing muscle too. And this is why so many guys I talk to end up looking skinny fat instead of leaner when they try to cut. To fix this, you have to use something I call reverse pyramid dieting. Here's how it works. Instead of starting with the biggest deficit possible, I start with the smallest deficit possible. Just enough to lose fat, but not enough to lose muscle. Let's say your maintenance calories are around 2,800. Most people would immediately drop to 2,000. I wouldn't. I'd start at 2,600, keeping my protein high and carbs around my workouts. Then, to create more of a deficit, I'd simply increase my activity a little bit. Think more walks and some cardio after your workouts. And then I'd wait. Because if fat loss is already happening, why would I make the diet harder? This is the mistake most people make. They think faster fat loss equals a better physique. But your body can only lose 2 pounds of fat a week before it starts losing muscle. And the guys who end up with the best physiques at the end of their cut aren't the ones who crash diet for 3 weeks and rush the process. They're the ones who actually keep their muscle when they get lean. And the best way to preserve muscle is by keeping the deficit as small as possible for as long as possible. You can actually think about it exactly like getting stronger in the gym. When you're trying to build muscle, the goal isn't to add 50 pounds to your bench overnight. And fat loss works the exact same way. It's going to take some time. Because every time you make the diet harder than it needs to be, you're shortening how long you can actually stay on it. And I know nobody wants to hear that. They want to snap their fingers and just have abs. But if it worked like that, everyone would be lean. And here's the part you really need to understand. In my coaching, to get guys transformations like this where they finally get lean, they actually end up eating more food than the guys who constantly give up on their diets because they don't start with an extreme approach. They save those adjustments for later down the line. Think about it this way. If you start your cut eating 2,000 calories and doing an hour of cardio every day, what are you going to do when progress slows down and your metabolism adapts? You're going to eat 1,500 calories, do 2 hours of cardio. Eventually, you just run out of places to go. But if you start with a small deficit, now you actually have options. You can add a little more activity. You can remove a little more food. You can keep making progress for months instead of weeks. And that's really what reverse pyramid dieting does. It lets you lose fat without losing your muscle. Now, obviously, I can't cover every single detail of getting lean in one YouTube video. Things like how much protein you should eat, how to adjust calories when progress slows down, or how much cardio to do, which is why I go a lot deeper inside of my program, the Lean Body Accelerator. It's basically an all-in-one system to help you get in the best shape of your life, regardless of your age or your starting point. You can check that out in the description below. And if you want to watch a video showing you what it takes to go from 25% body fat to 10%, you should watch this video next. I'll talk to you there.